Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fanboy Explosion podcast. I'm Cameron Cook,
And I'm Seth Turner.
and today we're going to be talking all things Nintendo. Nintendo did a Nintendo Direct, the first one for 2015, on Tuesday of this week, Wednesday of this week, actually. It was Wednesday, January 14th. And a lot of big announcements came out of that. Most notably was the new Nintendo 3DS. That's actually what it is called,
The
the
new.
new Nintendo 3DS.
Way to
Um,
go, Nintendo. Way to
Yep,
go on
they
the
are
naming.
masters of naming products, that is for sure. And but there was a lot of stuff beyond that, and kind of is setting the stage for what they're going to be doing this year. So Seth, what did you think was most interesting that came out of the announcement today?
For me personally, I mean this announcement was really exciting for me. It
I mean, yeah,
was
you sent me like a text as it was going on, and you were very enthusiastic about this. Was You said, I think you said it was like the best Nintendo Direct that you had ever watched,
yeah,
which is a
I
pretty bold statement, I think.
yes, for sure. I think that this Nintendo Direct harkened back to the feeling I had a couple of years ago. And I don't know necessarily that it'd be the best Direct ever, but it is the best one in a long time because for once I felt that Nintendo was busting out with games. They had things that they talked about before. They had, new things. They shared a lot of new information about things. The thing that really excited me the most, oddly enough, is Splatoon. Uh, I
Yeah, I mean that game looks cool.
I thought, I talked about earlier. I think that game looked adorable, and after today's Nintendo Direct and seeing that you have the customization, it's simple stuff. It's head, body, shoes, but you have stat adjustments based on that, and then you have this like hub world, kind of Destiny style. Like you have a hub world you meet people in, and then you like go off to do the things that you want to do. I think that that will be really fun in that fun cartoony kind of paint filled world. So as far as like what was most exciting, like that excited me personally because I honestly can't wait to play that game. That is a new Nintendo IP that I think will be an amazing, like fun. I don't want to say casual shooter because I think there's going to be a lot of depth, but I think it's going to be super fun to play and super fun to be able to experience that on Wii U.
I mean,
Um,
it's definitely something a lot different from what they normally do. It's pretty ambitious. Maybe not, it's not, that doesn't sound that ambitious if it was going to be coming out on the Xbox One or PS4, but for Nintendo to have this kind of like multiplayer centric, like online interactive shooter. Like, I mean, it's like a paintball shooter, but a shooter. That's pretty interesting, and I mean, it looks a lot of fun. I hope it does well. I hope it catches on.
Yeah, I mean, this is the company that 2 years ago didn't even have an online multiplayer platform. So I, I'm glad that they're gonna kind of venture into, I guess you'd say shooters, but in the most Nintendo way possible. But it looks super fun, and as far as new IPs are concerned from Nintendo, like more the merrier, and that one looks great to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see how it does. Yeah, I hope it can kind of foster a community and it can grow. It's just Nintendo has not had a, not just through their faults, I think, but just their fan base as a whole is not latched on to kind of that sort of multiplayer. Um, but we'll see. I hope some people find it and stick with it, and that'll be something people will enjoy for a while to come.
Yeah. So what about you?
I mean, I think it was a very Fire Emblem centric Nintendo Direct for me. Two reasons. I mean, obviously they teased a new Fire Emblem game. They had a trailer for coming for 3DS. They didn't give a name or very many details. But it's classic Fire Emblem. The 3D graphics, but with the 2D sprites. Looks like Awakening. They teased some changes that talking about like big choices and stuff like that. So maybe there'll be some branching narrative or something. I don't really know, but that's worth getting excited about. Who knows if that will come out this year? I'm going to say probably not, but who knows? It could. Um, so that was one, and I'm a big Fire Emblem fan, even though I'm pretty bad at the games. But I really enjoyed Awakening. Awakening was actually the first one I finished all the way. I had gotten really far in some of the GBA games, and I never could quite finish them because I'm a baddie. But Awakening was I found to be a little easier, but still, difficult for enough for me to have like fun playing it. But the other announcement, I this was I think the big surprise, and I think it's really the only way I can describe it is interesting, is that they announced Marth, the Marth amiibo, which has been completely like sold out and heavily sought after. That just him, just Marth, they are bringing back to the market, and
Yes.
that was to me out of I think a lot of people were hoping that. Um, but that's the thing. It's not the whole wave one amiibos. It's so Villager is still gonna be hard to find. Wii Fit Trainer, but yeah, just Marth, which is kind of strange. I mean, I guess he probably is the most requested out of that initial group, but I mean that's exciting, and I think a lot of people are really pumped for that and glad that Nintendo was listening and giving Marth a second chance at life. And finally, all the scalpers can go away, and you don't have to pay $90 for a Mars figure. So that was
I feel so
yeah.
bad. I feel bad for people who have paid for that. Like now those things are worthless. I mean, they're back to their regular value because you're right, the
Well, I
scarcity
mean,
is
if they
gone.
wanted it, I mean, they
Um,
paid for it. They're willing to part with the money, and this Mars probably won't come out for another 2 months, so they got it ahead of the curve, I guess. But yeah,
yeah.
I just thought that was really interesting that they didn't. It was only Marth and no other amiibos, and that they made that announcement during the direct, not as like a side thing, but it was like part of the direct was we are bringing this toy back to market. It's just kind of a
Yeah.
strange thing, and it just kind of I guess it goes to show that how much they believe in amiibos. Because I mean, a lot of the direct was amiibo oriented in general. There's a lot of
Yes,
new
for sure.
amiibos coming, and a lot more functionality for a variety of different games. I mean, that was probably. I mean, I wonder how long they're gonna be supporting amiibo. I mean, I guess they're in it for the long haul now. Long haul now.
Yeah, I solemnly believe that Amiibo is an investment that Nintendo is going to be making for
I
quite
mean,
some
is there
time.
gonna be like
Um,
a new line? Because they announced the Super Mario Brothers line. So that has
yes, and they've been transparent about that from the start. They
yeah.
said that the first wave or two are going to be Smash centric, but they are going to expand into
But
other
now
franchises
but
for
there
other
are a
games.
lot of the same characters. There was a lot of
Yes.
repeats. I mean, they pose different, and like I guess the statue bases are different because like on Smash the current Mario, for example, has like the Smash Brothers logo like on the base of
Yeah, the Smash
the
coin.
Smash coin. Yeah, they're standing on the Smash coin, and so I'm assuming these new ones don't have that will be something different. But like, how many Mario's are you gonna buy? And like the amiibos only
All of them.
support one game, and then you have to wipe the data to be able to play it on another one, which I guess probably for like most games is not that big of a deal. Like, okay, for Smash, people who train their people to level 50 are not going to want to wipe that data. But for other games where it's not that kind of progression, and it's just like, oh, you get a little bonus buff or whatever, I mean, sure, wipe that away. That's no big deal. You reinstall it or whatever you want to say, next time you play the game. Um, but for all these people who have like the Super Smash Brothers ones, you almost can't use those in any other games unless you're just willing to part with your custom amiibo fighter, which is kind of I don't know. It's kind of I think that's kind of dumb, honestly, that they can't store more than one game's data. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's common knowledge that Amiibo were kind of a last minute integration to Smash, and that's probably a technical limitation they had to set to meet the deadline. But it is going to be an interesting approach as far as, yeah, how are you going to deal, so if I want to have a Mario for Smash and a Mario for Mario Party 10, do I got to go buy,
Well, you
it
have to
looks like
buy
I've got to
two.
buy
Yeah, you
two
have to buy two
Marios.
Marios. Yep.
So I mean, from a business standpoint, awesome, but from a consumer standpoint, that's pretty sleazy. But for Amiibos as a whole, we're still kind of seeing. You're right. This direct was like, to me, I felt this was primarily an Amiibo direct, and they announced other things as well. The Toad Amiibo is
That
gonna
is
be pretty
cool.
cool, but they have like times with Toad Treasure Tracker, and they're gonna have seems to be pretty heavy tie-in with Mario Party 10, like getting exclusive boards. They talked about Codename Steam and how you're literally going to get new characters by having the amiibo. So it's a lot more than what we initially thought of being just hats and cosmetic stuff. Like you can't get those characters in Project Steam
Codename Steam.
unless you Codename Steam. Sorry, unless you have those amiibos.
Yeah, which are the fire. It's only the Fire Emblem amiibos.
Yeah, just the
Because
Fire Emblem amiibos, which I think is a cool harken to,
well,
that's the
Codename
brand.
Steam is developed. Yeah, Codename Steam is developed by the Intelligent Systems who does Fire Emblem. So that's why the Fire
Yeah,
Emblem
I think that's a
people,
cool
yeah,
Easter
are
egg.
in there. And since we've beautifully segued into Codename Steam, let me talk about how pumped I am for Codename Steam.
Please do.
Um, like I said, I love Fire Emblem. I love Advance Wars. I love turn-based strategy stuff. And this game is 100% up my alley. And it's something new. I mean, as excited as I am for a new Fire Emblem, uh, Codename Steam probably has. I mean, number one, it's coming out in 2 months, so I'm very pumped, and it's around the corner. Um,
Can I just say right quick that that's one thing I really respect about the Nintendo Direct system is that this is not a deal of like they're announcing things that we're going to see in like 6 to 12 months. Like just about everything they announced today, we're going to see in the next 2 to 3 months, and I think that's just absolutely great. And that's one of the reasons that this specific Nintendo
yeah.
Direct resonated with me so much.
Well,
But
yeah. I
anyway,
mean,
sorry, I
now
didn't mean to cut
Codename
you off.
Steam they announced at E3, so we've known about that for a
Well,
while.
yeah, we knew it
But I mean, it is
existed.
coming
Yeah.
out in March. And just everything about that game, like the comic book style, the wacky historical characters who are all fighting like HP Lovecraft aliens, and
Yes.
it's just completely bonkers, but at the same time looks like a lot of fun, especially for fans of like XCOM and Valkyria Chronicles mixed with kind of that Fire Emblem style of gameplay. Yeah, I'm that's probably the most anticipated game of the spring for me. Is which beats out a lot of other games, but I'm definitely it's at the top of my list, and so I was glad to see them put a little bit of the spotlight on that because I have a feeling that game is not going to perform super well like financially. It's just Fire Emblem has kind of grown so to where it's a pretty big I mean, in Japan, it's always been big in it, but in America, Nintendo's never treated Fire Emblem like a first, like as the same rank of Zelda and Mario and stuff like that. Which, to be fair, I guess it's not. But I specifically remember a couple of E3s back, and they're announcing all the games coming out for the 3DS at E3, and they focused on all this stuff, and then after the press conference, they're like, "Oh, yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening is coming to the 3DS." They didn't even mention it at on stage, didn't show gameplay, didn't do anything. And it was like, what gives? This game is going to looks like amazing. Everyone is excited for it, or a lot of fans are excited for it. Nintendo didn't even occur to them that people wanted Fire Emblem that much. And
Yeah, didn't it have a supply and
it
demand
did. It
problem
was
when it
hard to
came
get.
out as
You
well?
couldn't get physical copies. They sold out very quickly. A lot of people had to download it, and I think they broke the eShop when that happened for a short time because everyone was downloading it from the eShop because they couldn't get it in stores. So that shows you the demand, and maybe Nintendo's finally paid attention because front and center during the direct were Fire Emblem characters, Marth, and then a teaser for a game that's probably not going to come out for another year, which all the text and stuff was in Japanese and doesn't even have an official title, and they were showing it in that early stage as at the forefront of their presentation. So I think that shows that maybe they've come to understand that there is an audience for that kind of game. Now, Codename Steam, I don't know. Codename Steam is weird. It's very strange, even more so than and more niche than Fire Emblem I think ever was. Um, I hope it gets good reviews, and I hope it's an excellent game. But even if it scores very well and is well received by critics, I just don't think it's going to be pulling in huge numbers. I'd love to be wrong. I mean, I'm going to buy it regardless, and I'm probably going to shout from the rooftops how great it is if it turns out to be good. But um, as term for new IP or franchises, I wouldn't bank on that one being one we'll see more of. But I'd love to be wrong about that. Who knows? Maybe it will turn out to be a cult hit and it'll sell pretty well and they'll make a sequel. But it's not
Yeah.
out yet, so
I mean,
it's
I'm
a little
excited.
too early to call that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a dynamic for me is I've never really played a Fire Emblem game. You've always talked about how amazing they are. I tried playing one once, but it was like 10 minutes. So, I'm gonna play Codename Steam. Um, but I would like to try Fire Emblem, but it'll be interesting for me not having a background in Fire Emblem to walk into that game and, not have that kind of predisposition for what I'm
Hmm.
expecting. I'm really excited to play. I want to play the Codename Steam before I play a Fire Emblem game, so that way I can kind of see what is Codename Steam its own thing and kind of get to experience it before
Well,
I go
yeah, I
back and
mean, I
see
think
what
they're
Fire Emblem
they're
is about.
pretty different. I mean, they're turn-based strategy, so that's the same, but basically beyond that, like I mean, Codename Steam is like a third-person over-the-shoulder. It's like XCOM, which you played XCOM.
Yes.
It's like XCOM, except I mean, it's different, but it's that kind of style of gameplay where you have, you can only move so far and take so many actions. It's that third person over the shoulder. You're kind of manually aiming your abilities and things like that. Um, whereas Fire Emblem is that over the top grid view, you know, um, Advance Wars Final Fantasy Tactics kind of deal where you match people up and you're like, okay, my guy's going to do this much damage and has this chance to hit, and I'm going to fight this guy and it's going to do this and it's going to do this. And you kind of know how everything's going to work out. And it's not like you are swinging the sword yourself. Whereas in Codename Steam, you're actually aiming your guns and your bombs and doing all that thing and maneuvering around the environment in a 3D space instead of from that top down like grid view, which is which seems pretty interesting. Now, I just started playing Valkyria Chronicles. I got it on. It's a game I've been waiting forever to get my hands on. I don't have a PlayStation 3, so I never played it. It's on Steam. I picked it up the first day it came out. Been playing it for a couple hours, and from what I can tell, Codename Steam looks a lot like that. So anyone who is a fan of Valkyria Chronicles, that gameplay looks very similar to Codename Steam. So that has me excited because I'm really enjoying Valkyria Chronicles gameplay, as well as plot and all those other goodies right now. So yeah, just another reason for me to be excited about that.
Yeah, I think that the 3DS is an interesting platform because it's consumed on such kind of nuggets, really. I mean, not a lot of people sit down and really play the 3D. I mean, I may be wrong about this, but I'm usually not sitting down with a 3DS for like 2 or 3 hours and crunching through things. I'm playing it, kind of here and there.
Well, dude, you haven't played Fire Emblem.
Well, maybe Fire Emblem. I remember Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. That was probably the most that I'd done in like one gaming session. I would do, maybe an hour or two at a time. But it's going to be interesting to see if they do something for Codename Steam. Like, is Codename Steam, because I know that on XCOM, like those missions are pretty
Oh,
lengthy.
the same as with
So
Fire Emblem. They're pretty long, and or they can be.
so they may not just even they may not even care. They may just be like, you know what, fold
Well,
it down
like
if you
on
don't want
Fire
to play
Emblem,
it.
yeah,
Like
what
it'll
you would
pause
do
it.
is you would suspend the game basically, and you could come back to it. You don't save it in like a traditional sense, but you could come back and pick up where you left off if you wanted, because there is no saving in Fire Emblem like during battles.
Oh yeah, so you
So
just
you
close
would
the
just like
yeah. I
suspend
mean,
it, and
same as a Zelda dungeon. You just
well,
close it
there's
down and
like an
come back
actual
again.
like suspend option, like in the menu. You go and you like suspend
Oh,
game, and then you can just like turn it off or whatever.
oh, interesting.
So that's how that game deals with it. Yeah, I don't know how Codename Steam, because yeah, you're right. I mean, I usually play in bite-sized portions. I mean, Fire Emblem, especially when I was getting towards the end, I do remember playing for several hours at a time. Fire Emblem Awakening. Um, and I played Smash Brothers. I played Smash Brothers for a couple hours at a time. Played Shovel Knight. But yeah, it's usually not more than probably 2 hours, I would say. Very rarely is it more than
Yeah.
like a 2 hour gameplay session. So it'll be interesting to see how they um, adapt that gameplay style to the handheld.
So speaking of bite size, the smaller 3DS is not new. Sorry, new 3DS is not going to be coming to the United
It's not.
States.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say we've been
That's
through this whole conversation. We haven't even talked actually about the console yet. So let's
let's
talk
talk
about
about it.
that
Let's
and
talk
what
about it.
happened and what didn't happen, which I think is pretty surprising. So yeah, like
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it up front. The absence of the small edition, like the regular edition, like the smaller one, and the absence of the AC adapter are two of the weirdest things I've ever seen
now
done.
I can kind
Uh,
of understand not bringing the small one to America, even though it is kind of weird because Europe is getting it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%. I think I did read that Europe is getting the small one. Japan has the regular sized one. It seems like Nintendo of America just decided for the Nintendo, like the American audience. And to be fair, I would have the same belief. Like if they came out with a smaller one, I have an XL. I think a lot of people playing the 3DS have XLs at this point. Why would you why would you buy a new system and not have a big screen? Like why would you get the small one unless it's like way cheaper?
yeah, the thing that I bear in mind is that it's kind of weird because we want portable games, but we want giant
I mean,
screens,
it's still
and
pretty
that's like
it's the XL's still portable. It's still very
it
portable.
is still portable, yeah, but it's not something that you would like throw in like a standard pocket like that. You know,
Well,
that's
it's a
a
back
back
pocket
pocket
or a
or
coat pocket or
yeah,
something
like
like that.
that's it's pretty chunky, and to me it's just I said something earlier, and now this is making me rethink it. Like I said, portable games on the on the 3DS might be consumed in smaller amounts, but this move almost makes it sound like they have decided that
Well, I
no, that's
think
not the
and I
case. Like
think the
a lot of
American
people,
audience is much different from I mean, I don't know a whole lot about either the European market, I guess, but in Japan, I mean, obviously people are on buses or walking around on city.
oh yeah,
It's
that's a
very
very
yeah, mobile
mobile
heavy.
culture.
That's they enjoy that smaller size. They're always playing on it, Also the customizable face plates are going to be only in Japan,
That's
and that's
cool.
a thing over there that I don't think would translate necessarily over here. And I think you're right, for us, for a lot of American audience, um that bigger screen is what we want. Like we're not playing it so much on the go, or I mean we are, but I don't think as much as probably the rest of the world. And so that we want that bigger screen to enjoy things for, make everything bigger and nicer and play for those extended gameplay sessions. And I think Nintendo of America just saw that and they're like, there's no reason to release a smaller one. In their eyes, I think if you want a budget DS, you're gonna buy the 2DS.
That's true. I have
You're
not
gonna buy
considered
if you
that.
want a cheap DS, you're gonna buy the 2DS. So either that or you're gonna get an XL. That's your option. XL or 2DS. So for them to introduce the small one throws like a curveball into the market where like, oh well, this is it'd be kind of weird. I mean, I could see
Yeah.
them doing it. I mean, I do think it's a little surprising that they didn't introduce it, but if you sit and think about it specifically for our market, for the American market, I think it makes more sense than a lot of people are giving it credit for. I mean, obviously Nintendo knows what they're doing sometimes. Uh, and I
Sometimes.
think this is one of them. I think that's a pretty smart move. But let's actually talk about the hardware itself of the new Nintendo 3DS XL. That's a mouthful. Um,
Yeah.
what is
Well, we know that Nintendo is not. They're not going to win any awards for naming.
yeah,
You know,
God help
as
us
far as
when
that
they
goes.
announce the next one because they've already used new. So I don't know what they can possibly. They'll do a new Nintendo 3DS XL one.
Oh no, it'll be light.
Light. Oh
It'll
dear,
be
dear
XL
God.
light.
Okay, just keep adding adjectives over and over and over again. But let's talk about the actual hardware because it's pretty. I honestly think it's pretty impressive. If I
Yes,
played my 3DS a lot more, I would probably upgrade. But like, I mean, it's got Amiibo support. Number one, that's
that's
very
big.
big.
That's big.
So Amiibo support. It's got the. It's not a true analog stick. It's a like kind of like the C stick is what they're calling it, a C stick, kind of like on the GameCube controller. It's like a little kind of awkward
Like a nub.
nub. That's like a baby stick. That's not really a full-fledged thumbstick, but is also not a button. So
But they've showed like camera control
yeah, it
being
looks
an
like it
aspect
works
of
well. It's
that.
just
So
yeah. So that's interesting, and I think that's something people have been asking for a really long time, actually. And I think it has like a better processing speed. It'll work faster downloads, and then the 3D face tracking. So you don't have to find that sweet spot anymore. You can actually move your freaking head and not get a migraine. I mean, I turn my 3D off fully off 90% of the time.
well, and they addressed that in the presentation. They said most people just turn 3D off because it's too much trouble to use. And so I think that as far as new features go, like that is a compelling feature. Like there's so much work that probably went into that and they just kind of played it off as like, "Oh, it's a new thing." But that is a legitimate problem that the 3DS
Well,
has.
yeah, when your audience isn't using one of them, the feature is in the name and your audience isn't even using it. That is a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah, and I mean, when the 2DS came out, people started to question, like, okay, is there a future in the 3DS? Like, the next 3DS not going to have 3D then? But it does, and it's a probably better 3D than anybody. I mean, the 3D was revolutionary when it came out, that you didn't have to have glasses, and now they've got it where you don't have to worry about
I
your
mean, that's cool. If
angle.
I had one, I would use it. I would definitely use it. Now,
Yeah,
like I said, I don't play my 3DS a whole lot, so I'm not compelled to upgrade at this point. Um, but I mean, yeah, heck, I mean, I think that's really cool, and that the fact that it's the same price as the regular XLs, it is
well, yeah,
$200.
and that's just I think
Well, they're gonna phase
technology.
out. I mean, what's gonna happen is they're just gonna phase out regular XLs, and they're all gonna be that new
Yeah,
Nintendo one, or you'll have the 2DS. Which, like I said, it will be those two choices. You have the XL or you have the 2DS, and
yeah. Which that's getting on the road of simplification. As far as their platform goes, it would be nice just to be a two platform mobile structure. Because you had a good point in saying that it doesn't make much sense to have a middle ground when you're dealing with mobile, with the mobile platform that Nintendo has. Because you're right, you either have the I don't care how much it costs, I want the best experience,
or the
or
cheap
the
one.
I need a Pokemon machine.
Yeah, exactly. And the 2DS, to Nintendo's credit, is actually really cool. It's really solid. It's a
Yeah,
really solid console. The cheap price is great. Honestly, if I had not snagged a deal and gotten that 3DS XL that I got, I have the Zelda one, and I got it like Black Friday for a steal. We both
oh,
did.
we
Yeah, actually,
both
you have
did.
that
We
too.
were at the
Yeah.
same time.
If I had not gotten that one, I would have a 2DS because I'm not, like I said, I don't play it that much, but I still want to play some of the games. So I would have been the one who, would have spent the less money to get that one. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, just all around. I mean, it was a strong press conference. I think stronger than they've had,
Yeah,
in,
I
like you
mean,
said, in a long time, and a lot of exciting. I mean, there were a lot of more minor announcements. I think we hit probably most of the big stuff.
no, the biggest one, Fossil Fighters,
Oh, see,
Frontiers.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even. I play Fossil Fighters. Fossil Fighters is a pretty cool game, honestly. Uh, I mean, it's kind of a Pokemon clone. Okay, I didn't see all of the direct. So what? I think you're joking when you're bringing this up.
No, this is 100%
Okay,
serious.
tell me, because I don't know. What do you
No.
do in the new Fossil Fighters game? Is it cool?
So yeah, I mean, it's if you played the first one, you kind of know what it
Yep, you
is.
dig
It's
the fossils.
uncover fossils, train them into battle. This one has you can team up with your friends to go take down big dudes,
Okay, that's pretty cool.
big bad dudes. You can also they have an arena zone now where you can kind of go in. You can compete against each other. I think that it also has like you can compete. I'm not 100% on this, so I do know it has like an arena that they kind of sold as like the ultimate challenge. You know,
Hmm.
the end game, I guess you would say. I mean, it's Fossil Fighters. It's on the 3DS,
No, that's cool. I
and
mean, and people, I think there's like four of them now, so that franchise is apparently catching on. It's a pretty cool.
who
It's a
doesn't
cool
love
game.
dinos, man?
Yeah, it's dinosaurs. Who doesn't exactly? Who doesn't like dinosaurs? It's cool. Um, okay, but we've been heaping praise on Nintendo, so it's time to take it back a couple notches. So here, normally you would be the one doing this, but I'm gonna take your place today, and I'm gonna throw the heat.
Oh, it's okay. I think once you strike the match, I'm gonna be the kerosene that ignites it.
Okay,
Let's see.
okay. So Nintendo, you're really cool, and this is all really cool. And you know what else is cool? These cool bundles that you have announced. The Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate bundle, exclusive at GameStop, and then there is also the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Now, it's not a bundle because it does not come with the game, whereas Monster Hunter comes with the game, but it's a special edition new Nintendo 3DS. It's gold. It's got the mask on the front, and it's super sweet looking. I tell you what, Nintendo announces this, and it basically sells out in the first couple hours. I
Oh,
know,
minutes,
I know,
minutes.
like GameStop sold out incredibly fast. Best Buy was the next to go down, and basically now they're impossible to get. Um, and it like I know GameStop sold out with seriously within the first like 2 or 3 hours. And now
Yes.
this is a pattern we've started seeing.
Hmm.
And it's a very bad pattern. It's a very bad pattern in that there is a huge demand for this stuff, and Nintendo is barely even scratching the surface of that demand. We've seen it with Amiibos, which they're trying to fix with bringing Marth back. We've seen it with the GameCube adapters for Super Smash Brothers, which they finally said I think are they're making more of and are coming. I don't know, maybe like March or something. Okay, cool. Like 6 months after Smash Brothers comes out, no one can get those. And then the limited edition Majora's Mask game that comes with the Skull Kid statue. It's like $10 more than the standard price game. A really cool deal. Those sold out basically the same way the console sold out, almost instantly. Can't get it at GameStop, can't get it on Amazon, can't get it anywhere. And then now we see it again with this new bundle or the new system. Like, what gives? I don't understand. Like, I really don't. I mean, I know it's limited, obviously, and limited has to mean something, but not even, I don't even think a fraction of the people who are willing to pay for this are being able to. They sold out at GameStop before the West Coast stores even opened up in the first place.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. That's like, that is ridiculous. And I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if Nintendo is just like, they've always been kind of bad about this where they don't send enough. They don't do enough. But I don't know if they're just like doing that on purpose or they just truly don't understand how big of a market there is for like these kind of collectors things.
I think that they understand. Nintendo is and I've said this many times. Nintendo is still treating the world, they still treat themselves as a toy company. And they make these toys that they produce, and that is, I mean, that's just what they do. And they, if they don't make enough, you know, okay, well, we've got what we've got, so enjoy the toys that we have. We'll have new toys coming out soon. That's the mentality that they've taken. Now, this direct, more so than the other ones, I began to see signs of them like listening to the fans.
Well,
The
yeah,
fact that Majora's Mask for 3DS existed for a long time, like that means that they have listened to fans.
that's
They're getting
true.
better
We
about
didn't
that.
know if we would ever even actually see a Majora's Mask remake on the 3DS, and I mean, I'm sure Nintendo had been tossing it around for a long time, but I think fan support honestly was fan enthusiasm for bringing that to the system was a big reason why it eventually happened. I think that now I don't know that for a fact, but I think that's pretty safe to say.
Yeah, and a lot of people love Nintendo for the fact that they try to break the mold. They try to do things differently than other companies do. But I believe this. I've been very passionate about arguing this in the past. But the Wii was one of Nintendo's greatest achievements, but it was also one of its greatest. I don't want to say failures, but it was one of its greatest
Well,
detractors.
with that success came some other I say problems. Like they had
Yeah, I
huge
mean,
success, but it also created some difficulties, I think.
yeah, because what you have to understand about the Wii is they sold oodles of them, but they did not attach games to them. So they lost third party support because nobody bought anything other than the
It was a
Wii to
Wii
play Wii
Sports
Sports.
machine
It
for a
was a Wii
lot of
Sports
people.
machine, and they ignored that for a long time, which was a huge mistake. Then the Wii U came out, not a very clear communication as to what that thing was. A lot of people thought it was just literally like a toy that you add
An
onto your
add-on,
Wii,
yeah.
but the Wii's in the closet, so why are we going to do that? But the average consumer didn't know that. So they attracted their core audience as they always do. And what really, my really the only worry I have at this point is that this, I don't want to look back 5 years from now and look at the Wii U and say, oh man, that was just like a mad machine. Like we got a cool Smash game, we got a cool Zelda game, we got some Mario games. Amiibos were around then. I'm glad I have 8,000 Amiibos now, but like that was when they first came around. But like I don't want to look back and that be the memory that we have. But you're right. Supply and demand is a pretty simple business principle that Nintendo has a hard time. I would arguably say in the United States that for the first 2 months of this new 3DS existence, it is more important to have those Majora Mask bundle or Majora's Mask like consoles than the regular colors. I think more people want
Well,
those than the
now,
regular
like, but
colors.
these have always been like special edition DSs with like Pokemon or Zelda or anything. They've always been pretty limited. They've always been pretty limited. But
Well, yeah, when you have your
I do not think they have ever been this limited where they sell out in like
yeah,
2 hours.
but think about the install base for the 3DS.
No,
It's
it's
way
huge. It's
bigger.
big. It's very big.
I think it's way bigger than they've ever had to deal with before, and so they're playing by their old rule book, but the rules have changed, and you got to adapt. I mean, people want to buy this. I will be honest. I have a 3DS XL, the same Zelda one that you have. But if I could go to Amazon right now and click the buy button, I probably would because of my fear of missing out. I don't want to miss out on that because you usually get one Zelda. Think about it. We had the original 3DS, had one Zelda edition that came out. If you remember it,
Yeah.
it was like gray with the trimmings on
Yeah.
it. I was on Amazon earlier today searching to see if the Majora's Mask bundle was there yet, and I saw that on there available for
Well, no, I
$498.
remember the DS. I guess it was the DS Lite. Before I got my 3DS, yeah, there was a Zelda one that I wanted, and I never got it. And one day I was looking on eBay, and I honestly can't remember the price, but it was. I mean, it was way more than it should have been, and I was almost ready to throw down money. Um,
Yeah.
Now, okay, now I'm pretty content because I have a gorgeous, sexy 3DS which I shamefully do not play enough. Sitting here, I do not feel the need to upgrade. But for a lot of people, like, and the people who are buying this, they are people who are upgrading. They are not. I
Yes.
For the most part, I would think it is people who are they're gonna either trade in their old systems and upgrade to the new one, or they just don't care. They want to collect all of them. They're just gonna throw down money on the new one.
And
Because these are
there
the
I
Nintendo, these are the hardcore. These are the hardcore Nintendo fans. The average person doesn't care if they walk in the store and there's a one with a goofy looking mask on the front. Like this is the hardcore Nintendo fans who want this. And like I said, not even a fraction of them are even having the option, like the glimmering hope or dream of even being able to get one because, like I said, they sold out. Now, will there be more? Like, will they address this and will they add more?
Yesterday I would have said no, but after Marth
I will still say
Rebirth,
no. I mean, I'll say no. There's because when this comes the new Nintendo 3DS comes to market, you're not gonna see, like, you may see some of those special edition ones that weren't pre-orders that will be available just for sale. But a month later, they're gonna be gone, and there's not gonna be any more. Nintendo's not gonna send anymore. I will say that is almost 100% fact.
yeah, I would like to see some more before it comes out, though. I would like to have the chance at that.
Like, I don't think they're gonna, like, I mean, like you said, if you go first day it's out, you go to GameStop, you might be able to snag one. But I think, yeah, it's not gonna be around. And I mean, the Monster Hunter one, Monster Hunter is not near. It's really cool. It comes with the game, which the with the Zelda one doesn't. Even though it does in Europe, the Europe one, which is the same design for the Zelda DS, it does. It comes with the game. America doesn't. God knows why. I don't understand. But
There's so many things like that with Nintendo, things that just don't make sense.
the markets are different, I guess. I don't know. But the Monster Hunter one is not near as popular, even though it is really cool. Monster Hunter is just not as big of a franchise over here as Zelda is, and yeah, it's weird. And I like, if this was a one-time thing, I wouldn't be so like, Nintendo, get your act together. But when it's been, I mean, it is in the past 6 months, it has been this over and over and over and over again, and it's just frustrating.
Hmm.
It's really frustrating. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I've actually ever said this before, but I work part time at GameStop. So, at like all day long, when these things are announced, I sit there and people come in trying to pre-order, or they call trying to pre-order, and I cannot help them. I literally, there's nothing I can do, and it sucks. It totally sucks because it's not like these people are showing up late to the party. Like, they are
Yeah.
here to the party. They're ready for the party. They've brought the snacks.
Could you say their body is ready?
Their body is ready. They've got the snacks, they've got the drinks, they're ready for the Nintendo party. And Nintendo's like, "Oh, well, you were like 1 minute late, so we decided to just like go ahead and party without you, so you can't come in.
The party's
The
over.
party's over." And that sucks. And it sucks
Oh
when
yeah.
there's multiple people who come in for every Nintendo product, and they're like, "Oh, do you have the Marth Amiibo? Oh, do you have the GameCube adapter? Oh, do you?" And I'm like, "Nope, on all fronts." And those people are, they're sad. And they're Nintendo fans that are being let down because Nintendo can't even like attempt to address the supply. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's limited for a reason. I know that, but if this is what limited means, that like you don't even have a chance in hell of getting one, I think that's called like ultra rare, actually. I think is what that should
Yeah.
be rephrased to. So, I don't know.
If I had one thing to say to Nintendo, it would be that they have you Nintendo have a listening problem. Your fans tell you what they want. For years, people said they wanted toys based on Nintendo characters. Even before Skylanders, before Disney Infinity, they said that. When those came along, they were like, "Okay, cool. Now we want figures like that." And I am safely going to say that Amiibo is a half-ass project. Like that was
Oh, here we
something
go. Oh,
that
here
well,
we
no, no,
go.
listen. Because well, you were talking about earlier the technical limitations of the
Well,
amiibo.
that's true. That
Like
sucks, but I
if it
mean,
was a well thought out item, there would not be a one game limit. I can go to Walmart right now and give someone a $10 bill and walk out with a thing the size of a like basically like the size of a crumb that could hold my
But
entire
I mean,
music
is this
collection.
intentional? Do they just want to? Is it for money making purposes? So you have to buy two Mario's? Maybe,
Well, and that's
maybe it
okay. I
is.
mean, if that's what they've chosen to do, that's fine. But in all of these things that we're talking about, if I feel like if Nintendo would listen more, they would. It's not a matter of like being nice or not being nice. It's a matter of revenue generation. Like people wanted amiibos or something like them. They created amiibos. They made oodles of money on amiibos. The people wanted new insert game here. They wanted a new Smash and they wanted it on a mobile platform. They did, and boy did it sell. You know, and whether or not you think that that was a good move or a bad move, would they have sold more Wii U's if it had only been on Wii U? Possibly, but I think that the fact that they put Smash on the 3DS and gave people the option of that,
Well, I mean,
they
I think they
sold
are
more copies.
listening. I think okay. I think you can't be too hard on them because they are listening. Now, I don't know how if they're listening that well, but they are listening, as evidenced by Marth, as evidenced by some of these localizations from Japan. For example, we did not mention Xenoblade um,
Yep.
Chronicles, like the Wii game. They are actually porting to the 3DS,
Mm-hmm.
which was previously only available in Japan, and they're bringing that over here, just like the original game.
They're also doing something that a lot of Wii U owners have wanted. They're allowing Wii games on the Virtual
They are
Console. They
okay, so
announced
that's awesome.
three
So
of them.
there are some steps. I think you can't be too hard on them
No,
because
and
they
I
are.
said this earlier. This direct made me feel like they are beginning to listen. But the catch now is they've dug their hole kind of deep, and they're trying to figure out how to move within this. What you're talking about as far as the Majora's Mask bundle, you're right. They should have known that people were looking for that, but unfortunately they just did that. Maybe we'll get another wave. Maybe we won't. It's the ball's in their court on that. But if I just wish they would, they know this information. They know that the people who are going to buy this 3DS are returning 3DS owners. Do you want me to tell you why? The proof that I know why is because they're not including an AC adapter with it.
Which okay, now this is the most confusing. Yeah, that's the most confusing part I read. I saw
No, it's
some
because
sites were
everyone already
reporting on
owns
that,
it.
but I interned at Game Informer. I read up Game Informer for a lot of my news, and like specifically, they meant the news guy Mike Futter. He mentions that it doesn't come with an AC adapter. I don't know if did they mention that in the direct. I don't actually.
Yes, they actually
They
said
say
it.
that
It does
okay.
not include it.
So
Yes.
some people weren't reporting that, but that's a pretty big thing. Um, why? Yeah, why would they not include it? If I mean, like that makes no sense. That makes
Because they're
literally no sense.
assuming that they're assuming that everyone who's going to buy this has either purchased a now given they're very generous. I think it goes all the way back to like DSi.
Oh,
Like they're
well,
very
I mean, the
generous.
DSi adapter is not the same as the 3DS one, so I don't know if that's right. But
Okay, I may be wrong about that, so don't quote me on that, but
I mean, at least
that's
probably the
proof.
original DS or
Yeah, and I
3DS,
don't know,
original 3DS.
this may be a cost thing that they're doing. I did not get a chance to read the Game Informer article yet, so I don't have that much information about this.
Well, it
But
didn't specifically say why.
I
It
mean,
just said
most companies that's murder to create that's like Apple selling an iPhone that doesn't come with a
they're
charging
like, oh, we
cable.
assume you have one,
Yeah,
so
people
just
would
not
like even
include
though
one.
people have like oodles of these things laying around, they would still like lose their shit because of that. So it's definitely a move of bravery and kind of it's very
That is
confusing why.
confusing. I read that and I was just question mark appeared over my head. I'm like, why is that a thing? But
Yeah.
Nintendo. They're Nintendo. Nintendo's gonna do what Nintendo's gonna do.
They make us pull our hair out and then we want to give them a big hug right after. It's
Yeah, basically. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting day for all Nintendo fans. Lots of fanboy squeals and explosions.
explosion.
Explosions immediate. So the squeals come when new Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3DS and then they go to pre-order it and they see that it's already sold out, and then the fanboy explosion happens. That's exactly
Yep,
what it happened.
that's it.
That's how it goes. That's the process. But I mean, I think that we've hit about just about everything we wanted to talk about.
There was a lot more. I would encourage anyone who hasn't to go watch the presentation. It's right around an hour long, maybe a little bit longer. But please, it's definitely a good idea to watch those because they tell you they showed so many more games. Like they did this one segment where they just rapid fired like third party games, and
Yeah,
I was
these
like,
are
what?
we talked about some of the big stuff, but yeah, lots of I know some puzzle games, and there's like a cross buy support for
Puzzle and
yeah,
Dragons.
so I mean lots of good stuff. We just decided to hit on some of the big notes, but definitely, I mean it's going to be an interesting year for Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean they have kicked it off. Next week we've got Microsoft's doing something, but this is really the first big kind of news drop in 2015, and
Yeah, I mean we're only 2 weeks in, so
yeah, all the good things and bad things we've said combined, like this was a good announcement. Like I was pleased with Nintendo, and I told you said this earlier. You said that I was texting. I was excited today. I mean, I was at work. I was super pumped up. I watched the thing 2.5 times. Uh, just I had it pulled up on my second monitor, and I was just absorbing all the information. So I'm really excited for Nintendo. I had set my New Year's resolution not to be so hard on them, and I'm glad to see that for the most part,
you don't have to be
they're
too hard on it.
they're not giving me many reasons outside of just general like amiibo availability and the Majora's Mask new 3DS. But I mean, I can't wait to get. I was fortunate enough to pre-order the Majora's Mask special edition, like the game. I think you were
Yes,
too as
I
well.
was as well. Yep.
So
Amazon, Amazon
I'm not.
baby.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm not so spiteful about that,
Well,
but
I'm still spiteful, but I'm just a lucky bastard, basically.
yeah,
We're both
yeah.
lucky
I
bastards.
mean, I really hate for the people that missed out on it. But nonetheless, yeah, that I think that covered kind of the high points of that. So definitely, stay tuned. We'll be having all kinds of gaming announcements coming out over the next. I know that Microsoft's got an event coming up for Windows 10, so we'll probably talk about some of that stuff next week when that happens. But yeah, definitely keep your ears glued over here at Fanboy Explosion. We'll be covering everything as it happens. So as always, thanks for listening. Was there anything else you'd like to add at the end here?
Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter at Fanboy
Check
Explosion.
out the
You
website. Subscribe. Get it
www.fanboyexplosion.com.
done.
We are on iTunes. We are also on YouTube. You can subscribe at either one of those. It's perfect. You can follow me. My personal Twitter account is at Darth Turner.
Don't follow him. Follow me at COK Gamer.
Or you could follow us both.
Nah,
You could follow Fanboy
There
Explosion.
can only be one. But you definitely follow Fanboy Explosion.
Yeah, follow Fanboy Explosion. We'll have all kinds of cool shenanigans going on there. Tell your friends we are working our butts off to make as much content as we can. And we're really excited about where this is going to go over the next 12 months. 2015 is an amazing year, and we're excited to be able to cover everything that's going to happen this year. So, once again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.